Hello and welcome back to Touchline SA. I am Oarabile Diphoko, and tonight we are discussing everything that has to do with your Euro 2020, your Copa America, and the controversial relegation promotion playoffs here in South Africa. Like I said, I'm your host for the evening. My name is Oarabile Diphoko, and I'm not alone. We are joined yet again by Mr. Who the F is Kamugelo. How are you tonight?
I'm good and you, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I love your smile. Like it's honestly so inviting, so warm. It's just welcome to the touchline. Tonight we are talking Euro. It has been a phenomenal tournament so far. 24 teams, 6 groups, and now we are down to the last 8. Can you believe it? We're down to the last 8.
Not at all, man. It's been crazy. It's been madness, especially the past 2 days, man. Like, it's been crazy how everything's just come to fruition. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
I agree. It honestly has. Let's talk about the round of 16 because we waited until tonight to discuss that up until every single team has played. Let's talk about the round of 16. So many big players and so many big teams being dumped out. I mean, we all speak about the group of death. That is Group F. And it seems that everybody has faded away from that. That is the likes of Germany, France, Hungary, as well as the defending champions in Portugal.
Yeah, you know what? I think I don't know what happened because a lot of all three of those teams are probably for a lot of people they would have been favorites coming into the tournament. France being world champions, Germany being perennial, just semi-finalists of every competition, and Portugal being reigning. So for all three of them to be out in the round of 16 is very crazy, especially the way that France went out and Germany also lost to England for the first time in a long time. It's been crazy. I can't believe it.
I mean, we're looking at the visuals right now, looking at that young man in Kylian Mbappe, who technically really had a horrible tournament, just to be clear. From the very first game, this boy did not look like he was about to turn up in any way. That pace that he has was not used to his advantage. And we all know what happened because he had that decisive penalty that made sure that they were on a plane back to France. How did you find that game? Because up until the 80th minute, France thought 3-1 would do the trick.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody watching probably thought the same thing, I think it was poor game management on their part, excuse me. Because 2-1 up, you should be seeing out the game, just killing the momentum of the game, not really trying to go out for any more goals because, yeah, man, at that stage, you just want to solidify your place. You rest some players, maybe there's some problems that led through the back. Considering also the way they rode their luck, Rodriguez missing the penalty, that would have seen Switzerland go 2-0 up, but yeah, man, poor game management from Deschamps, from the players as well. They're World Cup winners. You should know better. You should kill the game off one time. But yeah, Switzerland did what they had to do and clawed their way back into the tie. They did the most, man. Shout out to them.
I mean, speaking of Switzerland, I want to call out a particular player because I know for Arsenal sometimes a lot of people have a lot of chats about Granit Xhaka, but man, oh man, did Granit Xhaka not turn up. He was a leader of note. He dominated that midfield, and honestly, he did deserve that star of the match.
Facts. Yo, man, I don't know what's with Xhaka when he gets to Switzerland. I don't know what juju, what Muti is using when he gets to Switzerland. There, he's just a different type of player. That's not a player I'm familiar with seeing, man. But yeah, man, more to him. I'm glad. If anything, this just raises his stock. So if teams wanna come by, they gotta pay a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Because you can see what he can do. There's quality to be seen, and he showed it. He showed it on the biggest stage. This is the first time since gone to quarterfinals in 67 years. So yeah, man, more power to Xhaka.
I mean, it seems to be that is the case at these Euros right now, that records are being broken left, right, and center. And not just with regards to Switzerland just making it as well, but looking at some of how the France players played. I mean, Karim Benzema was back in the fold. He is back in the team,
Yeah.
and he was amongst the goal scorers. I mean, that audacious first goal that he got there, I really thought, no, France is about to pick it up now, and they're going all the way. Unfortunately, the moment of brilliance faded just as quickly as their dreams did.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yo, man, that touch was insane. Like, I'm still like in awe about how he got that, like how he did that. Like, it's been crazy. And that in itself, again, that in itself, I guess, encapsulates why he was brought in.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? And when you score, I think there's 3 goals in the tournament. Like,
Mm.
yeah, man, then you justified your place. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you can't really blame Karim for what the team didn't do. You know, he did his part. It was on everybody else, like
Mhm.
to pull their weight as well. And they didn't do that because now they're out. Damn.
Yeah, that is the thing. I mean, they have now faded into the dust just like every other team that came in at the beginning of the tournament. Now I want to move on to one of the other bigger games, that is the Belgium as well as the Portugal game. I'm going to start off with the losing side. I'm going to start off with Portugal. It was just one of those games where it's just the ball just did not want to go into the back of the net. But also, we look at some people that I feel like were a bit costly in that regard. Diego Jota. Diego Jota. Diego Jota.
You know, like it's very easy to call to like make Jota the scapegoat. He did mess up. He did mess up big time. He made
Mm,
some questionable decisions in the final third, man.
yeah.
Yeah, but to put the blame solely on him would be kind of unfair, you know. Like a lot of other people had chances. Ruben Diaz, like he headed it straight at Courtois. Guerrero was unlucky to hit the post, but yeah, in all fairness, like they only kicked in like in the second half, and if you want to be
Mm.
a top team in a top tournament, like you have to be on your game at all times, and they weren't that. You know what I mean? Belgium capitalized when they did, and yeah, they reaped the rewards of that, unfortunately, for Portugal.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We can't always only blame one player, but also Jota was kind of like Mbappe in a sense of he really has had a really bad tournament. From the
True,
very
true.
first game, Jota has been on everybody's lips, and not necessarily for the greatest of things that he has done, but also looking at another name that most people obviously would have expected to turn up and was still waiting for him, the likes of Bruno Fernandes. I was shocked by the zero contribution he really did make. And even the comments from Jose Mourinho saying that, Portugal are literally playing with just 10 men.
That's kind of fair. That's kind of fair because he didn't he had him like he was kind of ghosting like in the team, and when you're number 10,
Mm,
like there's a lot of onus on you to create. This is a game. You need
mm.
to score in this game to win, right? And that when you're number 10, you have to create or have to be you have to create the impetus like for your team to score. But he didn't do that, man, and he has a tendency to do that a lot, especially in the EPL, like in the big games, like he goes MIA. Like I'm pretty sure all of his goals against the big six like have been penalties. So yeah, man, this is a serious conversation we have, Bruno. Man,
Yeah.
is he really that good? You know what I'm saying? It's all good, Okora against Boo Fulham and Boo West Brom, but when it really counts, like, are you there? Are you there?
And those are the Paul Pogba. Because I mean, Paul Pogba turns out for France, he does really great things, and then at Manchester United, it's a little bit dicey. But you know what they say? They say that sometimes it's the people that you are surrounded by. And now looking at the Belgian team, a team that seems to be surrounded by everybody that seems to be great. Oh man, look at that Pogba goal! Look at that goal! Come on, I think I heard you mention something like, "Ooh, goal of the tournament," huh?
Yeah, I know you were talking about the shit goal, but
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know that goal from Laville was amazing in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Considering like the way he just took it, the way he just calmed himself and put it like in a place where the keeper had no chance like at all like to touch it. Like
Yeah.
yeah, man, it was dope. You know what I mean? I think for me that's up there with the Shigo, in my opinion,
I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from the strike. I agree. I think it's honestly one of, the top three for me anyway, but Petri Gimar. Let's just go back to the chat of Belgium and Portugal just to wrap up that conversation. Belgium now are missing a few players. Eden Hazard, who looked like he was coming back to his full fitness, who played great. But then now the other Hazard has turned up and finally coming out of his brother's shadow. That is a Thorgan Hazard with another belter of a goal to secure Belgium going into the next round. I mean, how nice is that? You play football with your brother. Like, let's just go.
You know what I mean? Yeah, man, that's crazy. Of all the hazards, you think it would have been Eden to send them to the quarters, but yeah, man, more power to Thorgan. This is a team game after all, so you gotta count on when the big players aren't really producing, you have to count on everybody else, and he did that, and the goal was spectacular. Yeah, he did his part, not just offensively but defensively. He played really well. Yeah, man, he got his team through and they held out, you know what I'm saying? Even though it was close at the end, like they did the most.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully this golden generation can justify that tag,
Yeah. I mean, it's about time. I mean, everybody's looking at Belgium right now, and especially with the likes of how Euros have gone, where favorites have now, bowed out. We're looking at Belgium like, listen, you're number one with no trophy. You finished third the last time. You need to go for that gold medal. But looking at other teams that are also currently pushing for that very same, feat, we're looking at Italy now. They're now facing Belgium in the next round. How have you found Italy's game throughout the tournament? I mean, group stages, 3 wins, 0 goals conceded. They got to round of 16. It was a little bit of a challenge, just a little bit, but they somehow got through it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people were sleeping on Italy. I was like on the fence about Italy because they didn't qualify for the last World Cup, so I wasn't sure how they were going to be close to the tournament. But they proved me wrong, and I think the Austria game was good for them, because they just coasted through the group. I think they needed that that thing to get them going, like, hey, we're in a tournament now, and yeah, they did that. They survived that scare from the Austrians and pulled through, man. Shout out to Chiesa. Shout out to Pesena, man. That's been like great management by Mancini. I must give him that. He's made the substitution the next time, and they've done what they're supposed to do. So yeah, man. I think that dog was meant to call that Belgium Italy game is very tight. I don't know who's gonna win, to be honest. But I'm leaning towards the Italians. If I must say so. They've been playing well.
Yo, I agree. I mean, I remember my first prediction when I looked at the teams and looked at Euros. I was like, for the final, I see Belgium and Italy. And then it comes in the quarterfinal. I'm like, now I don't know. I really don't, because I've been watching Italy with regards to obviously the qualifiers and when Mancini took over back in 2019 and how they've just slowly built, Federico Chiesa as well as, Ciro Immobile and Lorenzo Insigne. Yeah, everybody just seems to know what they do. I'm not even going to talk about Spinazzola because, my Lord, Spinazzola is turning everybody's world around. Like, he lived up to his name. So you're right. Italy right now seem to be on that great game run. I mean, they haven't lost in so long. And you're right, Austria was a challenge, but Belgium is going to be an even bigger one. And I want to move on to the other teams that I think a lot of people didn't expect them to get this far, the likes of Czech Republic and Denmark.
Yeah. Yo, man, I didn't think Denmark, especially considering, man, sorry, hey, man, it's unfortunate what happened to Christian Eriksen, but yeah, man, especially they lost that game. And then I think they lost the next game as well.
They only won one game. One game.
Yo, and then now they're here. And they played well. They played well against who did they play in the
Imagine like those 4 goals. 4 incredible goals that they've just caught. Ever since that first victory, they are holding 4 goals every game now. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. I think they've been playing like a team. They've been doing really well. I think that's one thing that's defined them. There's no star player, if I can say that. Like Poulsen has pulled his weight, Dolberg's pulled his weight. with the brace. Braithwaite's also pulled up against Wales. Yeah, the 4-0 against Wales.
Yeah, the
And, like,
4-1 against
they've
Wales.
just been playing like a team, and I think like exactly. You see what I mean? Exactly. So like it's more power to them, man. I think they've done well to get this far. The Czech Republic provide like a different type of challenge, because they're
Yeah.
also like they're a team in the same way. No real stars, but they fight. You know what I mean? And they have quality in Souček and Kufal in Schick. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, I think this might, unfortunately, I think the Scandinavians might, this is their time to bow out. You know what I'm saying? I think the Czechs might have too much for them, in my opinion. Where I see it.
You reckon? Damn. But you know what? I agree with you in that regard of they don't have the shiniest and brightest. They know that football is a team sport and they pick up the pieces when they need to. They grind out results when they need to. And look where they are. I mean, Patrick Schick right now is 1 goal away from equaling Ronaldo, who has set it now and is probably going to get top goal scorer as much as the likes of Lukaku and Sterling and Yarmolenko, who are also on 2 or 3 goals each. I think this tournament is still yet to turn up. And speaking of turning up, like you said, the past few days, man, we have been spoiled. Croatia and Spain. All I'm going to say is, go Alvaro! Go Alvaro Morata!
I'm sure you wish he was playing like that for Chelsea.
So some of these things, like, we went to complain, but there was a cup in between all of that too.
Yeah, man. Oh, man, but he pulled up. He pulled up when he needed to. He has a tendency of doing that.
I know. I mean, even the goal he scored, the fourth goal, I was just like, oh my God, this is the winning goal. Like, I really thought he had put the cherry on top on that game.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And football is a game of fine margins, because just after extra time it started, like Croatia like almost scored and Unai Simon like pulled out a crazy stop, But yeah, man, they I guess the Croats like they had that momentum going for them. They had it, and yeah, man, they rode it, but unfortunately it wasn't to be, because Oarabile and Alvaro, they did the things, man, and they just had to score the last 2, and bye Croatia, man. But that was an entertaining game, I think. Yeah, man, before the France and the Switzerland game, that game was immense. So I didn't know what was going on. It was just quality everywhere, man. Congratulations to that.
I know. It was back and forth. It was back and forth. I remember when I actually first opened the TV and I saw 3-3 and I'm like, yeah! And I'm like, wait, Spain could have scored throughout. They scored 5 the last time, now they scored 3. How dare they disrespect us like this? And then it actually got even better, and the night was even more thrilling. Like you said, we ended off with the world champions against Switzerland. But then now we're moving on to the quarterfinals. Like I said, there's 8 teams left, and on Friday we start the quest to see who we will be crowning Euro 2020 champions. We start off in the game with Switzerland and Spain. That one kicks off at 6 p.m. Then we have Belgium and Italy at 9 p.m. And then on the Saturday, we have Czech Republic and Denmark, as well as Ukraine and England. Looking at that Switzerland and Spain game, with how they both came out of the round of 16, how do you see that one panning out, Gamu?
Yeah, I think the way both the games unfolded is gonna have a big part to play in the game that they play together, because playing in such games can be not just physically taxing but emotionally taxing as well. So you might find out that it's they're not really able to get themselves up for it, and are just so drained from the previous round games. But yeah, it's hard to call, man, because Switzerland, I don't know, man, they just have a tendency of playing well when it needed. Like they really played well against France, and so did Spain. But I felt like Spain maybe had a bit of like a lapse in concentration too late. who's these guys? The Croatians back in the game. You know what I mean? Whereas the Swiss, like, they actually fought, you know, and I think at the end of the day, that's what's gonna be the deciding factor in that game. Yeah, man, but I'd really like to see Spain win. You know, I'd really like to see I'd
Yeah.
really like to see Spain win, but you don't know. I think Switzerland have a real fighting chance. Like, it's gonna be closer than most people expect, I think.
Yeah, I mean, listen, after this week, I'm no more the confident girl that's like, mang mang nah, I'm even willing to bet. Listen, I've lost money this week, ne? I'm not doing that again because this team's what's And moving on to another big game that we were talking about. I know you said Italy with regards to Italy and Belgium. Are you still sticking with that? You think Italy might just do the unthinkable?
Yeah, you see, the thing with Belgium for me is that I think there's a bit of an over reliance on Lukaku and De Bruyne, and to a certain
Yes.
degree Hazard as well. Whereas Italy, like, they play everybody plays well in their positions. You know, there's not really an Italian player you can say, like, yeah, he's been garbage. You know what I mean? For the most part, they've all played their part. Like, go Belgium, I guess, like, like, yeah, you see, Jorginho, Agala, Joe. Like, everybody's playing, even the substitutes. Like I was saying, like, Mancini's able to make timely substitutes, and yeah, everybody's just being able to play a part. Like, both Belgium, I think there's an over reliance on their stars, and who knows if Lukaku and De Bruyne can play like super well, like the best that they can probably get Belgium over the line.
Just nick it.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Italy just because they play, you know, more cohesively as a team.
Okay, and in the surprise packages of the other teams that we were talking about, what about me? Listen, Belgium is winning Euros. Like, not in my heart of hearts, I feel it deep down in my soul, that it has to be Belgium. But I want to move on to the other game, that is the Czech Republic and Denmark. And you say the Czech Republic might pull an upset on Denmark, huh?
Yeah. I think they just might have a bit like more quality, you know, versus the Danish. Yeah, man. Like I said, you know, Kufal and Souček and Schick, they're coming off really good seasons, and they've been playing well in the tournament as well. So I think that momentum is going to carry them forward. Considering the way they played against Netherlands as well, albeit against 10 men. They played well. I think they're just gonna edge it. I think they're just gonna edge it.
Okay, and in another game, the last game I really didn't want to give attention to, because England really does not need any more attention than they've already been getting. That is the Ukraine against England. That is Zinchenko against Sterling. How do you think that one's gonna pan out?
Man, I think England mustn't rest on their laurels. You know what I'm saying? They lost at the last Euros to Iceland because of the same kind of thing. I feel like they slept on them. If they sleep on Ukraine, they lose as well, because Yarmolenko and Zinchenko and their goalkeeper as well. I think his name is Bukan. Yeah, those guys have all been playing really well. You know what I mean? And yeah, if they sleep on those homies, like, they might just lose. But obviously, with the quality that they have, England, everybody assumes that they're gonna go through, especially after beating Germany the way they did. But yeah, man, Ukraine is not to be slept on, man. Like, you don't make it to the quarterfinals if you're not a good team, right? So yeah.
I agree. I honestly do. And like I said, I am so scared, but also in the mix, I am very excited. Just to wrap up this Euro 2020 chat before we get into the Copa America, do you have some top 3 goals that you've already seen? And like, yeah, no, those ones gets on.
I think, my top 2 would have to be the Pogba one. Sorry. The Pogba one would have to be my first. The Schick one would have to be second, and then Modric scored like a crazy goal. I forgot who they played, but he scored like outside of the boot, outside of the box. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah,
you feel me? Like, it was insane. Yeah, those 3 goals.
That's outside of the foot. Yeah.
What about for you?
And oh my God, there's just so many. There's just so many that I cannot get over. Yes, I think maybe the likes of Pogba's goal is still in my head because it's still so fresh. Patrick Schick, he wins goal of the tournament. Nobody's going to tell me anything about that. I want to Patrick Schick's there by the halfway line goal, as well as, I think, for me, even the Thorgan Hazard one, only because Nobody saw that coming from him. It has to be Eden. And because of just that, it has to be my top.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I'm not mad at that.
And that is the Euro 2020 Chad. For now, we do know that the quarterfinals do begin this Friday. We have Switzerland and Spain get us off at 5 p.m. And then we'll also have Belgium and Italy who kick off at 9 p.m. And when we end off on Saturday with Czech Republic and Denmark at 5, as well as the last game that is Ukraine and England, that will be at 8 p.m. Now, I want us to move on to the Copa America, something that we have to stream, something that are happening at 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning. There's so many things happening. I want to Copa America. They too are also into the quarterfinals, and the games follow through. And Paraguay will be facing it. We also have Brazil and Chile, which is undoubtedly the biggest one of the tournament so far. We also have Uruguay and Colombia, as well as just like Ronaldo has stepped into another milestone and made history yet again. And he's also the top goal scorer in that tournament.
To be on not like actual live games, but I've been able like to see like because of the awkward times. I've been able to like see the highlights and stuff, and yeah, man, it's know South American football is always quality. So I've liked the goals. Yeah, Messi's been incredible. Messi will always be Messi. So yeah, man, now that it's in the quarterfinal stage, I think I can commit to staying up late and seeing what's happening.
Oh, so it had to get to a certain level for it to be up to your standard. I hear you. I hear your chat.
I'm sorry. Like I got 2 a.m.
I mean, like you said, yeah. But if I were to ask you, like, if you are watching NBA, then I would judge you because I mean, same time.
Okay, true. But you see the NBA too, because it's playoffs now. It's playoffs now, so it's there's jeopardy now.
I see your chat. You like the levels, but Copa America is heating up, man. And as you can see down there with the fixtures, some pretty big games. I mean, Brazil, Chile, that is the likes of Neymar, Marquinhos, and Thiago Silva, who will be facing the likes of Alexis Sanchez, Eduardo Vargas, and that team seems to be gelling quite well. Copa America seems to be something that has finally come to the party, because I know they too had their own issues with regards to hosting and who's going to do it and how it's going to happen, but they seem to be moving right along. Looking at Copa America right now, Gamo, who do you see in the final?
It's interesting to see the teams that are playing each other right now. Like you said, the Brazil Chile game is one to watch out for, but I'm actually interested in the way Colombia and Uruguay is going to go, because as much as Colombia doesn't have Colombia don't have James, but like I still think they're a solid team. You know what I mean? Cuadrado, Mina, Falcao, all these guys, they still have quality. They still have a certain level of quality that can give Uruguay a tough time. For as much as they have like Suarez and Cavani, like it's gonna be interesting. But Brazil, I think everybody's expecting Brazil to go through. Sorry. Yeah.
So you definitely see Brazil in the final then, I'm guessing. Or do you want to see an Argentina and then Brazil final, or Brazil and Colombia? I mean, come on, be bold, lose money like I did.
I don't know. Like, I want to see Neymar versus Messi. That is nice for the media. That is nice for people to talk about. There we have them right there. A young reunion, a young MSN reunion. But man, I feel like Uruguay should not be slept on, man. They might just have a young upset in the cards, and Messi
should not be slept on.
Yeah, they shouldn't. Exactly. Like Messi has had a tendency of not peaking at international tournaments, so you never know what's gonna happen. Like it's tricky.
It's football, man. You heard it here from Kamo. It is so tricky when you are playing in the likes of the Football League. Kamo, just before we do go, I actually want to chat about the transfers and the news that is coming out in the world, because Rafa Benitez has said kudos to Liverpool and joined the other Merseyside derby club. He is the new manager of Everton. Did you see this one coming?
Not at all. Not at all. But I think we probably should have, be considering their last appointment being Ancelotti. They were probably going for a similar profile, a person that's been established, that's won leagues, that's won Champions Leagues. And I don't know, in the context of him being a former Liverpool manager, I don't know, like, I'm sure there's some Evertonian fans that are pissed off, but we're in the business of winning football games, and if Rafa Benitez is the person to do it, then hey, why not?
Why not?
I did not see it coming. Yeah. I did not see it coming at all. What about you? Did you see it coming?
I mean, I honestly thought he probably would have been in the top maybe 3 of the but then we started seeing weird names coming up as well. It was as if they didn't know what they were trying to do with it. Rafa was announced. I mean, I really was highly shocked. But one thing that I was shocked about was that Patrick Martin.
Sorry, I didn't catch it.